It's day 10 and we're leaving Aleppo to make our way back to Damascus. I find it interesting to pass through these little villages and catch a glimpse of ordinary everyday life. And very often there's an old castle on a nearby hill. We also happen to see another one of those big water wheels like they have in Hama. At the moment we're travelling in a southeasterly direction. We're bypassing on the main road that area of dead cities we saw yesterday, and we're making our way to Pamiers. This, I think, is the castle called Moudik, which overlooks the site of Pamiers, and we'll see that later from the other side. Yes, here we are now, and there's the castle again. Apamea was founded following the conquest of this area by Alexander. We have already mentioned how one of the Crusaders renamed his French home Pamiers after this place, but we now know that this place was first named Apamea by a successor of Alexander after his wife Apamea. We must break off here for a few moments while Professor Yusuf explains exactly what we're looking at.
Right. Wave, as you can see, it's stone.
Also, look here, do you think that they are ruts made by those ancient carts many centuries ago? Anyhow, Apamea is considered by some to be more impressive than Palmyra. Its colonnaded cardo is probably the longest and widest in the Roman East. In Greek Seleucid times it was the imperial army headquarters. The main bulk of the army was stationed here, well away from the capital at Antioch. With excellent pasturage in the surrounding valley, it was ideally suited for a stud farm, training area and supply base. 30,000 mares and 300 stallions were kept here, not to mention 500 elephants. It fell to Pompey in 64 BC. In 540 AD it was completely destroyed by the Persians. What we see today has been excavated and partially reassembled during a long, continuing effort by Belgian archaeologists. And coming back just for a moment to those castles, the history and architecture of these castles would require much more time to study than we have here. We could study the struggle for them between Crusaders, local Arab emirs and the Byzantines. One of these castles, Shaizar, which was originally built by an Arab dynasty of emirs called the Munkids, who we also hadn't time to study, was never taken by Christian forces. And look, breaking in again, we've found at the end of the site these people, who are probably Bedouin for all I know, with this special oven, and they're making these chapati things with various fillings in them. They were only about threepence each, so I tried one. Very nice.
I think it's alright, yes. Probably.
We were talking, if you remember, about that castle which never fell to Christian forces. Tancred, Crusader prince who ruled Antioch, and John II Comnenus, the Byzantine emperor, tried and failed in 1105 and 1138 respectively. And we haven't even mentioned the assassins who held Misyaf and were besieged by Saladin until they promised to behave themselves, but were eventually suppressed by Baibars. Now smile properly. Good. That's a good boy. Good boy. So back on the road, and from Pamiers we're heading southwards. We bypass Hama and Kadesh, and we're going to stop next at a place called Ma'alula. Ma'alula is about 50 miles north of Damascus. Some say that Ma'alula is one of, even the, most enchanting towns in Syria. Apart from that, we're visiting because it's in another area of Christianity and still speaks the Aramaic language which was spoken by Christ. You can see that we're getting back into a harsher landscape now, and Ma'alula is so famous that it's even built itself an entrance gate.
We are here making a quick photo stop. Photo opportunity. And you see the church to the left.
Here we've stopped for a general view over the town, but we'll see it a little closer later. As you can see, it's built at the foot of the mountains, and there are gorges. We stop next at one of the local churches where a young lady reads to us the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic.
باسم الأب والابن وروحك تشو إله أحد آمين. أب واحد باسمه يتكتش اسمك يثالي ملكك تسكن إرادتك احمل باسمه تجيب على رعا أفلاح لحمك أخو اليوم وغفر لاحق تيوثح احمل أنا حنغفريل تمخط عمينا ولوفش التخللنا حتشغر بيوثك بس حسلنا حمشيدا آمين.
Amen. From the town we take a short walk and then down some steps go down into this gorge or ravine or whatever it is. And whilst we walk along this gorge, I'll tell you the story of St Tekla. This young lady is believed to have been a follower of Paul and one of the earliest Christian martyrs. We are told that upon her conversion to Christianity, she broke off her engagement. Her fiancé, this being a different age to ours, had her flogged and then sentenced to death. She managed to escape, but was pursued by the Roman police or whatever. As she ran towards the mountain, she found her path blocked, but when she prayed, a gorge opened up and she was able to go through. So I'm not quite sure why she is a martyr. Be that as it may, St Tekla is a martyr, and very shortly we shall see the monastery which is dedicated to her name. It looks to me as though some people have been digging graves or something here, like that one from which the great stone was rolled away. Now here is the monastery and a closer view of the town. And so we're back on the road to Damascus.